Welcome to Nerd Church. A quick recap of our last time together, as I've been trying to take better notes. Last episode was essentially running errands gone wild, with a little bit of Potamfar's personal life shenanigans getting involved. But big picture, you took care of a couple things. So you got your official, unofficial papers, so that you can more safely move around the city. You received a message from Maktu, delivered to you by young Tanbu, which you promptly blew off and ignored, telling you to...
We'll put it in the back of our mind.
Yeah. Telling you to meet him at the safe house. You ran some errands for Potam, picking up materials so that he could construct a faux version of this arcane cage that he recovered from the shipping crate, and a tracking device from a wizard named Ruto Zenta, a sorcerer named Ruto Zenta, who doesn't get out much.
He'd be offended.
He would, undoubtedly. Potam took those materials and packaged them up, so he has now a crate ready for delivery. You also found out where that crate was going so that he can make that delivery. And he is off doing that. So we will probably hear more about his adventures later if he decides to tell you about them. You also checked up on your good friend Nips in the market on the promenade, and through no fault of her own, it was the wiles of fate. Some bad rolls led heir to, let's call them maybe a bumbled intimidation attempt that potentially tipped Nips off that these goods are very hot. And so
Nips.
You have yet to see those, you did not see those goods in the marketplace for sale. And as of yet, are not sure if you have completed your mission or not for your friend Null the Knoll. And where we pick up here at the beginning of our next session is that it is late evening, and where we left last time was that Pando, you had finally come face to face with your bestie, who has been desperate to see you. Lily the Tabaxi passed along a message through your friends that she was looking for you, but now here you are at the scratching post with your friends, and from across the bar she sees you, silently mouths your name as her eyes fill with tears. And that is where we'll pick up the story tonight.
So sad.
Are we all in the bar?
Yeah, so you were all back at the scratching post.
We got a, we paid for another room, right?
Yeah, you've got a room.
Potam paid for a room for us.
Yep, so you've got a room. So I believe what happened was that you all came back down to the bar just to kind of see what's up and maybe ask some questions, or but that is when Lily saw Pando and had this emotional reaction.
And Potam is not with us. He's not like pretend with us, right?
No, so Potam is back up in the room packaging up his package.
Okay.
And had basically told you he's going to go take care of this.
Yeah.
So you won't be seeing Potam until he takes care of this delivery.
Okay.
So
Did you
I
see
obviously
Lily? She's
yeah want to go see how Lily is doing.
So Lily is, as I said, is tearing up as you approach, and she kind of gives you like an over the shoulder, and her tail follows the way her head is pointing. And this is a signal she's given you many times, which basically means meet me in back.
Okay.
And so she goes out through the kitchen, and if you go around the corner, there's sort of a quiet place in the alleyway where the two of you can talk.
So I follow her out there, and we're out back. And nothing like, I don't think anything was trying to kill us, right? We're safe in this moment,
As far as I know. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
no one's like actively trying to harm us.
You weren't like chased to the
Thank you.
scratching
I didn't
post
think
or
so, but we've
anything
been
like
chased
that.
a lot.
We
Fair
have
enough.
been chased
That's
a
We
fair
need
lot.
to make sure.
Yeah. One of you was bounty hunted. There's
Oh,
been
that's
all
right.
kinds of things.
All kinds of
But
stuff.
as far as you're aware, you were sort of in chill mode
Okay.
at the end of our last session.
Great. So I'm going to go out back with Lily because obviously she's very upset, which makes me upset.
Yeah. So she runs up and embraces you, and she's shaking a little bit. And she says, "Oh gods, I've been looking for you for what feels like days. It's bad. It's bad. They're after us, all of them."
Who's them?
This whole disgusting empire. Every time we turn around, it's like we can't do anything without painting a target on our backs. Listen, I need your help. One of my roommates, I need a name for this person that I did not think about.
Lily and Lilac.
No, but I like the sort of woodsy or floral names. I got it.
Trillium.
Ooh, I had one and I like it. Yeah. One of my roommates, Trillium. You met her, Tabby, the notched ear. We were at home at the servants' flat, and the Blades just came knocking, but not knocking. They literally knocked in the door and they dragged her out. We tried to ask what she had done, and all they said was that she'd been accused of attacking a patron behind the bar. I worked with her every day over the last 2 weeks. There wasn't even the smallest altercation. It's entirely fabricated. Besides, Trillium wouldn't hurt a fly. They dragged her out by her tail, and now they've got her locked up in the jail. I don't know what to do. This kind of thing keeps happening. Not just to Tabaxi, but particularly us lately, all across the city. Somebody's making up lies, and the Blades are cracking down on it like it's gospel truth. I just need to get Trillium out. She's not going to handle jail well. She's already anxious to begin with, and this had her absolutely terrified. You should have heard her yowling. Is there anything you can do to help?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to try to help. I don't know what I can do, but we will try. I'm speaking on behalf of the really great people I'm here.
Very competent.
Right? Hopeful. Pando hopefully agrees.
Pando, I knew I could count on you. You're literally the only one in this city I could go to. We talked to the owner of this place, but, they barely care. We're just human resources. Tabaxi resources.
Do you have any other details that could help us?
Well, all I know is that the Blades said she had been accused by a patron in the bar, but they wouldn't give us a name. So I don't even really know the facts of the case. When we tried to intervene, they warned us that we'd be next if we didn't get out of the way. So all we could do is back up and let them go. I'm sure if you, a full-blood elf, went to the jail and asked some questions, maybe you could get some information, but it's really all I know. I'm just worried. The penalties that they've been dishing out lately for even the smallest infractions. I'm worried about Trillium. Anyway, I have to get back behind the bar, but let me know if you hear anything, okay?
I will.
And with that, she ducks off.
Is there like a system of law here that is at all fair? I mean, I know what exists.
That's a good question. So the Elden Empire prides itself on its kindness and rule of law. It is what traditional D&D players would call a lawful good alignment empire, whereas they do things to take care of people, but they also believe that there is right and wrong and that there is a clear line between them. And in the Elden Empire, that clear line is defined by the Emperor himself. So while there is essentially like a senate of nobles that execute the finer points of the law, the Emperor essentially writes the law through his words, and then the blades are responsible for enforcing the law. And each of those architectures of the law in the Empire live sort of in parallel, but are also very siloed. So pretty much any educated member of Elven society knows that the words of the Emperor might be interpreted in interesting ways by the Senate, by the senators who are from the noble houses, and the way that the blades choose to enforce those laws might look a little different than how they were intended in the houses of the Senate.
With each layer, it could be changed.
But ostensibly, on the surface, this is a lawful nation, a lawful empire, and you're in the heart of it. On the primary islands, you're considered to be under the Emperor's gaze, and so the rule of law is very important in this city.
I think it's important to say too, not just a game of telephone, but somebody could insert themselves with malintent.
Absolutely. Or money, or power, or something, right, that influences.
So the other thing I'll say is, and you've seen many examples of this, and you're running into one right now, is that you're also well aware that the laws are not applied equally.
It's a class system, right?
Yeah. It has everything to do with how elvish you are, and in addition to that, how financially savvy or powerful you are. So, so for essentially an indentured servant tabaxi, there's not a lot of leverage here. And if it really came down to her word versus somebody else's, unless that somebody else is a gnoll or something, there's even a half-elf is going to get a fair shot against any non-elf.
And in this system, if I made any kind of a claim that like she worked for me in any way, would that, like, it's gross to say it like this, but like if I were to approach the situation like pissed that this tabaxi is arrested because this tabaxi works for me in some ways.
That could be an angle.
Yeah, it could be an angle. You would need paperwork to prove that was the case.
Gotcha.
Because this tabaxi's contract is held by the same person that holds Lily's, which is what you've been accumulating funds to buy out.
Right.
Yeah. So you're actually very familiar with this.
Okay.
This particular.
I was just checking.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. However, it is another angle that would probably come to mind for you is, at the very least, you're a full-blooded elf who grew up in a noble house. You're not exactly powerful around here, but you're certainly someone that could walk into a jail and say, someone I know is arrested, I want to know why. And a low-ranking, law enforcement officer might be inclined to tell you something about that.
Not
unless
with my natural ones.
well, that part remains to be seen.
Awesome. So I'm going to go back in. I'm shaken because obviously I care so much about Lily, and I have a growing issue with this system that is in place because now we're faced with it constantly. And so I'm going to tell these two, they drinking at the bar? I'm guessing they're drinking at the bar.
Probably.
Yeah, Era's really upset and worried that her change in profession is not going well at all.
Just reconsidering
Like what
life
her life
choices.
is just falling apart.
Wait a
She's
minute.
like, maybe I can still move in with my parents.
Gonna get off this island.
So I'm gonna head back into the bar and fill them in on what Lily just told me. And I'm kind of still processing it myself. I'm throwing out my ideas around. I just want more information. Like at this point, I learned not to go just guns blazing or spells blazing. But obviously I think that some action has to be taken. And I'm going to ask if they're potentially up for it. At this point, I don't know what that means. And I'm comfortable walking into a jail by myself as an elf and just being like, hey, I'm here for a little bit more information. You don't need to bring the brute squad, like maybe on the first run.
Oh, yeah.
But just sharing what's gone on.
Oh, so is the jail open tonight? I don't know how things work around here.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I feel like no.
Well, it seems like people have to be able
it's
to
a
get out of jail
24-hour
at some
place.
point.
Yeah, it is definitely a 24-hour place.
Yeah.
I mean, the jail doesn't have like visiting hours or anything, or, like, So there's always somebody at the jail watching the prisoners. The jail is also
Makes sense.
essentially like the police HQ. So
Yeah.
the blades have the equivalent of a small fortress that is up in the noble district, it is in the mercantile district, but it is at the highest point in the mercantile. So they are essentially positioned between the mercantile district and the noble district, up on the top tier of the city. Fortress makes it sound really impressive. It's not that. It's about the size of a city block. It has modest stone walls.
It's like the Tower of London or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe even that's too much.
That makes it sound. This is
too cool.
This is the kind of place. I mean, Chuquip's not a huge city, so
It's like
this
a fortified building is what it is.
is a fortified building. Yeah. And it's got like, I mean, you've been in there for sure. Maybe not under arrest, but visiting people who were to have conversations you needed to have. There's like 5 cells that line one side of the building, and the other side is basically storage for weapons for the blades, and then some like administrative desk kind of set up for a few clerks. And then in the basement of that place is the records storage, where your papers will soon be stored discreetly.
And I'm aware of that, so I'm not trying to be like, hey,
Freya.
why don't we just like walk into the jail together?
No. Well, I'm just trying to think about timing here, because we have a summons from Maktu for a job.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to go. I mean,
Maybe I'll go tonight, take advantage if knock shift staff is anything like our hospital's knock shift staff. I might get further.
Right, exactly.
So I'll probably head out just to ask some questions. And then hopefully meet back here, because I also want to help with the next adventure.
Knockshift loves cookies.
Good call.
Maybe he brought up some cookies.
I think I got a little packet of them right here.
That's perfect. Not sure you'll find a bakery open at
Right.
at 8 o'clock at night, but
We got some bar cookies.
Yeah.
bar
They're a little
cookies.
questionable, but they'll do.
Yeah, that works. There's definitely bar snacks here if you need bar snacks. I'm sure you could bring some along.
So I've got my bribey snacks and a little money in my pocket.
The bright snacks and the actual
The actual
bribe
bribey
bribe.
snacks. And I think I'm going to head and just try to information gather at this time.
Okay, yeah, so you, you obviously know where you're going. It doesn't take you long to arrive at the Blades facility. The The building is, as I said, sort of reinforced stone building. It has a heavy oak door, double door on the front, which is currently closed, but as you approach, you can see not locked as a pair of blades come out the door and begin a patrol.
I wave.
And they sort of nod to you politely. And as you walk in, you're confronted almost immediately with the first of these sort of administrative desks. And you can see the 5 cells down off to the left. These are stone cells, so you can't see into them, with each having a sort of a heavy iron door secured to the front of it. But there is a clerk sitting there who you recognize as one of the local blades, who occasionally will also go on patrol, but they're not armed or armored tonight, just in comfortable clothes, sitting behind the desk, scratching away at a few pieces of paper, and they look up and say, "Oh, good evening, milady. What can I do for you this late hour?"
Does he have a nameplate?
He does not. No.
Okay. Hi, what's your name?
That's a good. Wait, I got one for this. I'll do this. We're adding to our list.
New mini game. Big Mac come up
Every
with
time.
Names it's every session.
Yen, Officer Yen.
Hi, Officer Yan. I'm Pandothrian, and I was actually just wondering if you could maybe tell me about a recent arrest that was made. I don't have a lot of information on it, but I'm curious about a tabaxi that was picked up recently. If you could tell me a little bit of information around what happened and why she's here.
Make a persuasion check. Please.
Sure. I don't think there's HIPAA violations in this case. And I ask it every time. Do I just hit the number by persuasion?
Yeah.
Someday, I'm going to know.
Is the prison guard a covered entity?
8.
Fair. So Officer Yen looks up at you and says, well, you're going to have to be more specific, I'm afraid, milady. A lot of tabaxi getting dragged in here lately.
Oof, what are they doing in the city?
Well, if I'm honest, it seems like the tabaxi's wilder nature has been a little stirred up as of late. We've had a lot of minor complaints and even some more serious ones. There was some violence at that alien dive, the scratching post, down near the docks.
Yeah.
Seems like a local merchant of some repute nearly got his eyes scratched out by a little minx down there who lost her temper.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That really concerns me. I mean, as you know, I'm also a citizen of this wonderful land. And
Indeed.
See my elven features.
as you can see,
Preen's pointy
I'm
ears.
symmetrical enough to indicate I'm important.
Listen to the name of my very important house.
Look at my important ears. That's really concerning. Thank you for sharing that with me, Officer Yen. I'm really sorry to hear about the local merchant who was attacked. Do you have any more information on who that was?
Is a traveling merchant, I'm told.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't end up getting the report from the merchant directly. You see, apparently he was shipping out and this incident happened late. He needed to race to be bandaged and then make his ship before it departed. However, some of the local clergy were able to bandage his wounds and provide some healing, and they learned all about the story, and we took the statement from them. So perhaps if you're interested in learning more, the Greeters of the Dawn would be the group to ask about. Come to think of it, the Greeters have brought our attention to several of these incidents lately.
Sounds like they're really helpful.
Truly, they are.
Yeah, keeping
it's
us
an
safe.
interesting sect. I'm not sure I align with their extreme views, but they certainly are doing good service here in the community.
Yeah. This is so helpful. So helpful, Officer Young. You're really, really a good officer.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm very, very pleased. I try. Maybe drop word of that to my sergeant, and I'll get out of this desk and the night shift, if you know what I mean. Be good to get back out and patrol, and bust some skulls.
I will keep that in mind. This is so helpful, Officer Young. I feel safer already. My last question is, I am, looking to see if there's any way in this wonderful land of ours that we could start, reforming some of these wild tabaxi that have just gotten out of control. We need them. They do a lot of work for us, but I don't want them hurting anybody. And so I guess
Don't worry, ma'am. That's what we're here for.
And you are doing a fine job. My question to you is, do you guys kind of keep the tabaxi here long term? What's your plan for them?
Work leave policy.
Right?
Oh, certainly. Well, for the minor infractions, usually it's just a stiff penalty handed down, a fine of some sort. That's why most of them never leave the island, if we're honest, right? Just keep working off that contract.
Forever.
That's right.
So funny.
But for a more serious infraction, a violent offense, in that case, the magistrate must hand down judgment. And so, for this one, some tabby-looking creature, the sentence will be handed down at the end of the week. So 3 days' time, I believe, is when the magistrate will come through. And Chukip's not a big city, so we only get a magistrate visit once a month or so.
Of course.
So when the magistrate arrives, he or she or they will hand down a sentence based on testimony from, I assume, the Greeters of the Dawn or any other witnesses who choose to stand. And who knows what the penalty could be for something, a vicious attack like this. Perhaps exile, perhaps they'll take a hand. It's hard to say, but we usually don't see many repeat offenders for violent acts. I hope they make an example of it.
Pando is grinding her elvish teeth so hard that she feels one kind of crack. Thank you so much for your help. This has been amazingly helpful. Do you want a snack?
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks.
Have at it.
That's great.
All right, Officer Yen. Well, you have made me feel very safe. And if I need anything else, I know who to come to.
Absolutely. He kind of puffs up. Looks very proud. Hey, guys, there's snacks!
All right, y'all have a good night.
2 times a hero tonight.
Pando just sanitizes.
It's actually really funny. So they have magistrate judges that come and visit each of the towns.
Yeah.
Funny fact, or interesting fact, heir's name, heir, is an old English word that is reference to those visiting judges. That
No way.
Yeah, they traveled around medieval Europe.
Wild.
It's a hustle.
And when they would come and they would hold a court, and it would be called like a court in heir or a justice in
That
heir.
is cool.
Yeah.
Can we use that?
Open
Nah,
your court.
All right, so I got a lot more information than I thought I would. Thanks, Officer Yen. And then I'm going to head back and fill them in on everything that I learned.
Okay.
And I'm already starting to figure out what to do next. So,
Very good.
In a land like this, would an elf's testimony have weight in that kind of a context?
Yeah.
Up against a whole culty cult.
Well, so any elf's testimony would have some weight, right? But at that point, you would be in now you'd be thinking about the caste system and just influence and things like that. And so, your weight, let's put it this way. If we were here in the United States and someone got arrested and your friend was like, hey, my friend got arrested, and then you showed up and were like, I don't like this. They'd be like, and you are?
Right.
And you have something to say about this, why?
But things mean things are weighted differently here.
But they're weighted differently, right. So at least you'd get heard, let me put it that way.
Okay.
So if you had something to say,
you have the opportunity to say it.
You would have the opportunity to say it, and that's the key difference, right? If Lily rolled up and was like, well, I was working with her the whole time, Lily has something to say,
but
we're just not interested in what she has to say.
Right.
I will tell you this for free, though, because you, and probably Air, but particularly you, would have heard of the Greeters of the Dawn.
Okay, so something went off when I heard that.
Yes. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Greeters of the Dawn. So the Dawn Emperor is obviously the ruler, the supreme ruler of the Elden Empire. He is old, very old, has been kept alive through, one might suspect, magical means for a very long time.
Oh, I always love unusually long-lived
emperors. And elves already live a long time, but the Dawn Emperor, well, let me say this. The stated story, the story that is told about the Emperor in the Empire, is that he has been alive for as long as recorded history of the Empire. That he founded the Empire and is as old as the Empire, which lasts a very, very long time. Another thing that you would all collectively know about the world of Tellus, that we haven't really talked about yet, is that the world of Tellus is not actually that old, relatively speaking. So the world of Tellus has been around in its current state, for several hundred years. Nobody's really sure exactly how many years, but a very big event happened, at which time Tellus changed in a really dramatic way. The things that changed when this happened, which is sometimes referred to as 0 year or 0 day, or basically like the beginning, or the end perhaps, is suddenly Tellus went from a world, and there are some records of this that have been located. Tellus went from a world where gods existed and were commonplace, and there was worship of these gods, a place where there were stories about dragons and other creatures.
I totally assumed dragons were still a part of this world.
There's stories about dragons,
okay.
And Dragonborn.
You've never, and this is interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, we won't get into this right now, but there's actually an entire cult among the Dragonborn dedicated to trying to find the dragons. But they never have, for hundreds of years. Tellus was also a land of fantastic technologies that are not very much is known about. But at one point, a worldwide catastrophe took place. And it wiped out a lot of Tellus. It shifted landscapes, it wiped out populations. And after this thing, nobody was able to make contact with the gods. The gods, for all intents and purposes, do not exist here in Tellus. And something started to happen right after 0 Day, which was referred to now as the quickening. Nobody's sure how long the quickening lasted. And this is why we're unsure how long Tellus has been in its current state. The quickening could have been a year, it could have been 100 years, it could have been 1,000 years. We don't really know. But the quickening was a period of time where magic flooded the world. So suddenly, vastly more raw magic existed on the surface of the planet than had ever existed before. And it saturated animals, plants, people, to the point that Tellus is now a magic-rich world. We've talked about this a little bit, that even the smallest child can cast a cantrip, can create fire with, in their palm of their hand. A lot of people believe that some of the current races that exist on Tellus, for example, were formerly human, but were warped into their new forms by this magic, essentially accelerating their evolution over the course of hundreds of years. So why are the dwarves the way they are? Well, some people think they were humans who lived in the mountains and were miners, and over the course of the quickening, they rapidly adapted to fit their environment. Some of the more fantastical creatures you might encounter out there in the world have been twisted or changed in different ways by magic. Right? So, anyway, back to the Elden Empire. The claim of the Empire is that the Dawn Emperor has been the Dawn Emperor since the beginning of the quickening.
Okay.
That he emerged from 0 day basically and began building this empire and has been the leader of the empire ever since.
Does anyone ever see him?
Yes. So he's not a hidden emperor, and those that have seen him see an older elf, but still hale and hearty. He's a brilliant orator and speaks in front of the Senate. There are magical recordings of him distributed all over the realm. His face is on every coin, all these things, right? So, whether or not that's true, that he has actually been alive that long, that's the story that's told. But a new religious sect has started to rise in the capital city.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Great stuff follows from that.
Always. In the last 20, 25 years in particular. So as I said, the gods aren't listening or are not present, perhaps. We're not sure. But the worship of the gods still exists in certain places, and the Elden Empire has been one of those places for a long time. They worship some of the original pantheon of good gods, like Shantia, the goddess of the harvest, and things. Some of these are still familiar names.
Yeah.
But the priests and clerics of those deities haven't had any special power or connection to the gods in a long time. And so it's now, in the Empire, it's started to become much more secular. Is secular right? Secular is not religious, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So much more secular. However, the Greeters of the Dawn started to emerge in the capital city about a quarter century ago. And their religion is a little different. It focuses instead on direct worship of the Dawn Emperor himself. And the cult seemed to sort of spring up organically at first, with just a few people, like philosophers in the Empire, or like hermits coming out of the woods and talking about this, or things like that, positing that in the absence of the gods, the Dawn Emperor is really the only being on the planet with the potential to ascend and take on the yoke of divinity that was left behind by the gods when they departed, to lead the world back to grace. And that is essentially, they're shaping his story of conquest to align to a savior narrative. And the Greeters of the Dawn have continued to accelerate this more and more and more. So they are the sect that is being referenced here by this guard,
Okay.
the Greeters of the Dawn. Now, this is the first you've heard of any Greeters of the Dawn in Chukip,
Yeah.
so you were not aware that they had a
But we
presence
would
here.
know.
But you would have heard of these.
Would Freya have ever heard of them before?
Very unlikely.
Okay.
No, because they really just sprang up in the capital city
Okay.
about 25 years ago, and their influence hasn't even really spread out to Chukip. Certainly not out into the vassal states or the unclaimed territories like where Freya's from.
Okay. So how far away is the capital?
The capital is by ship, probably 3-4 days travel.
Okay.
By airship, much faster.
Okay.
One other fun thing I'll just tell you, that the Greeters of the Dawn have a saying that they like to throw around, and this is kind of how they greet one another.
Sure.
Doesn't
Readers.
involve Brandon,
Yeah.
does it?
If the dawn is with us, who can stand against us?
Of course.
That's their greeting, and it's usually a two-parter. So when I
sure.
approach
Yeah.
a member of the sect, I would greet you with "If the dawn is with us."
I love a good shibboleth.
Yeah,
And then what would I say?
who can stand against us?
Under his eye.
So now you got a nice little lore dump here,
Yeah.
and
You should sell this to sci-fi. And make a good show out of it.
pretty sure there's a bunch of shows just like this, but I
Dime a dozen.
So with that, I will say it is late at this point. Once you've kind of run these errands and settled in, so that does not mean there's no bedtime in D&D, so you can do what you please. But
We should
Curfew.
ride at
Let's get to
dawn.
bed.
We should ride at dawn.
Yeah.
Go see Mach 2.
Yeah. I feel like we should get a little rest if we can.
for sure,
So I have filled them in on what I just experienced and the fact that I don't know what the next move is. I just know that there will be a next move, and I'm willing to hear ideas.
well, and that you have 3 days or so before
Exactly.
any more action is going to be taken.
And I'm gonna just let Lily know. I'm gonna find a quiet opportunity to just let her know, like, the ball is rolling. I'm gonna do my best.
Okay, good. So with that, if you'd like, you can take a long rest. If you haven't done that recently, I don't think
we've
there
done
were
it in a
any.
while.
We've done,
I
yeah.
don't think there were any like big combats or anything, but just in cases, if you would like to take a long rest, feel free to do that.
Also, I'm very sorry for my cough. It is allergies. We all COVID tested.
Oh, good.
I feel like I need to wear a sandwich board though. That's like
Oh, yeah.
not COVID.
Agreed. Okay, so in the morning, unless anybody has any sneaking or creeping to do overnight,
I don't think so.
Freya's just out on the floor. She laid straight down on the floor.
Yep.
The bed won't hold her. She's down and out. I mean, she was lifting a lot of fish today.
yeah, yeah.
I had an extra long meditation this evening.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's some cool narrative moments with the Eric can sneak in with the dawn people. What if Air went to go investigate to see now that maybe she's more concerned with the fact that this this Dawn, Creators of the Dawn are in Chakip,
Sure.
and she would just like to see if she can try to find out where they're meeting or
Yeah, you
something
can
like that.
you can ask some questions for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say, yeah. Well, I'll say
After this
this.
huge lore dump.
Yeah,
Lore.
yeah. Give me some more lore. Yeah. So if you walk around a little bit, why don't you make an investigation check, and let's see if you can how
Come on,
quickly
natural 20.
you can run around this city and and find some info.
Unnatural.
Yes.
Hey, dirty 20. That's pretty
That
good.
is
Dirty
awesome.
20. We'll take that.
So, so you strike out and go to a couple of.
Strikeout. Oh, strike. I thought.
No, you strike out into the night.
He's like, no way, that is a 20?
Wait, what?
With the dirty 20, you strike out.
These guys are
No
secretive.
information. No, you strike out into the night and head down to the docks. And you.
As all great adventures start.
Yes.
And you make your almost traditional information gathering rounds. So you've got a couple
Good contacts.
spots and a couple faces
Some
that you know to
beggars,
look
some-
for.
Yeah. Street folk.
That people sometimes owe you a favor, or folks that you've done a good turn for at some point, or people who you just know love to run at the mouth.
Buy them a couple drinks and they just keep talking.
Yep.
Yep.
And very quickly you pick up a couple pieces of information. So first and foremost, the greeters of the dawn in Chukip have only just arrived in the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
And they have largely been laying low, except for one. A guest leader, but they don't have any markings of leadership. But a fiery red-haired elf, whose name is Rostero Fane. Rostero Fane is someone who's been making a lot of noise around the city lately, particularly in front of crowds. Not so much down in the docks, but in areas of high elvish density.
Ooh.
And this is a guy who seems to be making the case for stiffer penalties when a non-elf race is involved. So there are plenty of non-elf race people down here who have now seen and heard this guy running around. But basically what you have heard is if someone's pocket gets picked and suddenly non-elf is getting dragged away for it, somehow this guy seems to be there making a big scene about how non-elves are making the Empire dangerous. And then the last thing I'll give you is as you are walking back to the scratching post, you pass a poster, basically, or a scroll, equivalent, tacked up to a wall where different postings appear. And it seems fairly new. And it says in big, bold script, "Good citizens of the Empire should not have to live in fear. Will your children be the next victim of attack? If you are concerned about letting beings prone to violence roam our streets unchecked, join your voices to ours at the next municipal council meeting."
Really good propaganda poster.
So that is what you gather with your quick night prowl. You've got a name, and you're not sure. This sign is not signed. It's.
We all know who it
Does
is.
it say
Right.
when the next council meeting is? Or it's just a
Oh, poor design.
Bad.
terrible
Call to
advertising.
action without any.
Terrible advertising.
It does not, but I will tell you that you know that it happens to be 3 nights from now, the night before the arrival of the magistrate.
Okay.
Wait. So the magistrate will be here on the 4th day.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you count tonight as a night,
Yep.
there will be 2 more nights, and then the 3rd night from tonight will be the municipal council meeting. The following day, the magistrate is meant to arrive and pass sentence.
Gosh.
Which all seems like a total coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Got the next morning.
Yes. So, as the dawn greets you, you can hear just a little bit of light activity down in the bar below. Potom has not returned, and so must still be out doing what he needs to do. But the day is yours.
All right. I think we should head over to where we're supposed to meet Mach 2, which meet at the safe house. Head over to the safe house. Maybe Mach 2 can tell us a little bit more, something about the Greeters of Dawn, or if there's...
We're going to be experts with these people.
Yeah,
We
exactly. Okay.
I'm going to take a bow break real quick.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's take a quick pause.
Really drinks White Russians.
Right.
Yeah. Fantasy White Russians. All right, back to it. So, you are headed to the safe house, correct?
Yep.
All right.
Heading down.
Also, I don't know if I said this, that I have to leave at 9, but I think we might be leaving at 9.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That was our plan.
I just didn't want to
Okay.
ruin anyone's fun.
Is this... I don't want to be too out of character about it, but... what makes sense for us to do with Potom out here? Does it make sense for us to do?
I mean, you can certainly go talk to Mach 2 and decide.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
He basically said...
I mean, because
like,
who knows
come talk.
when Potom is going to come back.
If
Honestly.
ever.
Yeah,
You know, really.
who knows? We need to be on with our business.
It's true.
And,
Yeah.
Well, he'll find us.
I missed
somehow.
him. I bombed quickly.
Right.
Air is not
Well,
going to hold up her life for another man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes. It's, at the end of the day, who really knows?
Yeah.
He's gone now. Do we still have a communicator? by chance?
Stones?
Yeah.
We have
So he's
stones?
got one and you've got one. So
Okay,
if you
that's
needed to get a hold of him, it's one use per day. But
Yeah.
Okay, we could always get him on the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really had to, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. So we head down, right?
Yeah, I
Sounds
suppose,
good.
yeah, I
Sneak
suppose
on.
we should show some
Sneak on
urgency.
in.
Right.
Right. It's early enough. We can sneak in through the flowers in the market, right? That's how we
Yeah.
got down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Oh.
now
And no one's chasing us today.
No one's chasing
Bonus.
us.
and it's
Right.
now not a market day, so the promenade is relatively
Okay.
empty at this time of morning.
Keep your eye out for nips.
Probably should always keep your eye out.
Right.
for this
Right.
generally at this point,
I
yeah.
kind of pictured us one day us walking by and you just like taking Nips's head off as we walk by.
Right.
Don't
I
even break
might do
stride.
it.
Right?
Hey everybody, I solved the nips problem.
I'm
No need to thank
sick
me.
of that fur ball.
Right.
Solve the nips problem.
Just like mini rage.
So yeah, you easily make your way into the sewers and head to the safe house. You presume undetected. And when you arrive, Mach 2 is not there, but Tanbu is, and he greets you and tells you that he expects Mach 2 to arrive in the next hour or so. He's out doing his morning exercises, which he does every day
Right.
outside the
Staying
city
healthy.
walls.
Runs
Right, we know
outside
that.
the city walls.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
he's got some tea going and invites you to wait. And a little over an hour later, Mach 2 arrives. He sees you and kind of greets you with a stern nod, and then asks for your pardon for a moment while he goes and cleans up. And he kind of goes around the corner, and you hear the sounds of him sort of briefly bathing and getting dressed in something that's not drenched in sweat. And when he comes around the corner in what looks like, I don't know what these are called, but what's the karate outfit?
Like a gi?
Yeah, gi.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it's called. Yeah.
He's got like a lightweight linen gi that he is wearing and some sandals. And he looks very comfortable and relaxed.
And badass.
And also badass. Yeah, and
As
also
we know he
badass.
is.
And he says, let me see, what's the What was the voice we decided for knock 2? Oh, yeah.
You took notes on what voice?
Yeah, I tried
That's great.
He speaks slowly and deliberately with a deep and quiet voice.
Oh, yeah.
He does not make jokes or smile. Think Clint Eastwood. That's what I want.
Okay.
I don't know if I can do a Clint Eastwood impression, but I can talk slowly and deep. So he greets you and says, I am glad that you decided to come. You have proven your trustworthiness, and I feel it is time to invite you into the true work of the Yokogawai. We are presented with a rare opportunity to send a message. There is a young woman, the daughter of the Kirin family, Mena Kirin. She recently returned from a trip abroad and is celebrating her return to her friends with a trip to the family home on the river outside of the city, a vacation spot. She will be staying there with a group of 4 friends in the cottage to the west. I would like you to take her. Bring her to the sea caves to the north and hold her there. Her family will be presented a ransom demand.
Oh my god, we're kidnappers.
I know. How am I gonna? I mean, I think she'll be able to describe me.
With, like Homer backing up into like the bushes. That's what Santa's doing right now.
To be clear, she is not to be harmed. This is simply to remind the noble families of this city
That we could kidnap and harm their children.
that they are not as safe as they pretend to be. Not to mention, the ransom will help fund our efforts to get more slaves out of the city and buy out the contracts of those who are slaves in truth, if not in name. I am asking you to take on this mission because I believe I can trust you to keep Mena safe in the process. However, you should be aware that she will undoubtedly be guarded by a squad of blades. And of course, she will have her friends with her. They are also not to be harmed, but we are not interested in them.
What I'm wondering, I think that we're fairly identifiable, me especially.
You're historically not good.
I am historically, yeah. So I'm just wondering, do you have any more of those masks that we wore on the first night?
Oh, right.
Indeed,
Yeah.
we do. And those can be provided for you without
Okay.
question.
Great. Okay.
So my concerns are there's already this like undercurrent that the nobles are not safe from anybody different from them.
Oh, I see.
And there's this violence happening to people who are different from them. And I get fundamentally what you're trying to accomplish. But I think we're going to hurt a lot more innocent people in the process. Because all we're doing by kidnapping, even if we don't harm her, is feeding into this idea that the nobles have something to be afraid of.
This is a
Wise.
ends justify means type organization.
Well, are you able to tell us any more about the Greeters of the Dawn? We were just learning a little more. But I don't know.
Yes. These
Pivot.
Sorry.
fair.
Yeah, I mean, it goes along with that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
These greeters are interesting. Their line of thinking makes me cringe a bit. I do not understand why the Emperor allows them to continue to spew these ideas, though I imagine they are well, I would, as a former soldier of the Empire, I would not stand here and accuse the Emperor of welcoming pandering. Were I the Dawn Emperor, and of course I am not, I would stamp these fools out. Their rabble-rousing and ludicrous claims of potential ascension distract the populace from the traditional values upon which this empire was built. And most of them are corrupt money grubbers or just opportunists taking advantage of the exaggerated enthusiasm of their followers to justify war crimes, outright theft, subjugation. They're the antithesis of what we are trying to accomplish. Apparently, one or more of them has made their way to Chakip. And should I encounter one of them in the street, it will not be pleasant.
Do you know who it is?
I have not met him, but I have been told he's made visits to more than 3 noble houses already, asking to make his introductions as if he were a member of some noble house and not some random member of an outlying sect. A lot of pomp and circumstance attached to not much substance.
Do they have any identifying clothing or symbols that they use, or something? If you could just, yeah.
They wear simple robes, and most carry some symbol of a half-sun. It gives the appearance of the sun rising in the east.
So clever.
I'm just wondering too, if we saw a poster, we heard Air saw a poster that it sounds like they're maybe going to be at a council meeting in 3 nights. On there, I'm not sure if you were aware of that or anything that has to do with.
No, that is news to me and not happy news. I will inform Wari Wari Hanzo of this. These public meetings are more his environment. You would not want me arguing our case in a municipal council meeting, let me assure you. But perhaps Wari Wari will have thoughts on the matter. I will pass along the information.
Could we have a few minutes to just discuss if this is the right thing for us to do or not? When do you need a reply as far as...
The young people will be at the cottage for the next 2 nights or so, I'm told. As long as we execute this mission in that time, I am content. However, if you are not going to take it on, I do have others that I can send and will. I do not know them as well as you. Perhaps there is more risk, but this is not an opportunity that we will squander. So, discuss your concerns, and if you have suggestions or ideas, I will consider them. And I should mention, you will be paid quite handsomely. 500 gold pieces of that $2,000 ransom will be yours.
Hair perks up.
I know.
And with that, he steps away to take tea with Tambu.
Well, I have us enjoying tea, so I hope he offered it to us.
Okay.
You already had tea.
We had it already.
Yeah.
So, So Mach 2, if we don't get back to you today, this afternoon, if anything, will Town Boo be around here if we come with a
Yes.
message? Or we'll see you tomorrow at your workout at dawn at the
So
latest.
by sundown tonight,
Okay. Oh, by sundown tonight.
I
Missed
must
that part.
enact a decision.
Okay. Okay. I think we should head out and get some breakfast. Have a discussion. All right.
Okay. All right, off you go.
All right.
There's
a nice little.
There's a great breakfast spot, actually.
Are they breakfast tacos? Is what I would like to know because I think that.
No.
No.
No, it is. It's actually sort of a breakfast sushi.
Oh, okay. Your fish and
here.
rice.
Yeah, it's fish and rice. But strangely, this is more. It's not sushi. I shouldn't have said that. But it is fish and rice, but it's barbecued on little charcoal grills. And this particular. So I don't want to know what that would be called. Hibachi?
Sure.
Is that hibachi? Sure. Anyway. I should do more cultural research before I try to just totally
Throw things out there.
Just crap all over it.
Yeah. And this particular spot is like a very popular spot right in between the on the northernmost, or I should say the uppermost edge of the Mercantile District. So it's a place where nobles come down to get their breakfast at a sort of a trendy-ish little spot that you know about. That's the best breakfast place in town. If you want something a little more divey, you know where to go. So basically, Pando's got an idea and Air's got an idea, depending on what your vibe is for breakfast. If you want bloodies, you're going to the dive.
All right.
If you want mimosas,
I was
you're
gonna
going to the
say,
Mercantile.
I have like 5 silver pieces. So I don't know what kind of breakfast that'll
I'll get you
me.
breakfast. But I need a drink.
I know I'm always like, hey, anyone got any money?
That has sort of become a Freya thing. Which is
Anyone got
great.
any money? Crap.
I do
500
really
gold
like
pieces.
the overall vibe of this party being always broke.
Yeah.
That is.
I kind of like it too. It makes
Yeah.
you be a little bit more. It makes
Scrappy.
Yeah, and it makes ethical decisions tough.
Have layers.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not down with kidnapping a girl.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
mean, you
haven't
bring
got
up a really good
breakfast
point.
yet.
Yeah, I know.
I do want to know where you're having breakfast.
Oh,
Oh.
it doesn't matter to me actually.
Docks, totally.
Oh, yeah.
Docks.
Okay, that sounds
Mostly
great.
because
You with Freya.
I need to keep an eye out for Nell to
That's
see
fair.
what her its
Vibe
body
is.
language is.
They.
They's body language is, so I can see if we failed or not.
Well, so I'll tell you, the best breakfast down at the docks is actually at the Broken Shell.
God damn. Oh no, it's fine. Oh no, that's good.
Yeah.
That was a roller coaster of emotions.
I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, the Broken Shell, which is the dive bar right on the docks, over which Ruto Zenta has his apartment.
oh,
Alright.
okay.
Alrighty, let's head down there.
Okay.
Clonk, clonk,
Knock things over.
It is really nice not being chased.
It is.
It makes it like traveling around just better.
I'm ready for the stealth mission, guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, guys! Stealth mission! We're not in the tundra anymore.
Okay, I order a drink right away.
Yeah.
What are the costs at this place?
So the Broken Shell has a concoction that is 1 part beer, 1 part tomato juice, and the basically a fresh shucked clam just dumped into the middle of it. And there's something else in there that
Wink,
they
wink.
won't tell you.
That's
But it
fun.
is.
It's made with love.
Yes.
It is. It is briny, it is tangy, and it is way stronger than it should be for being half beer. So whatever the something else is, it's definitely booze and not high quality. Because you know from experience that if you have 2 of these, you're going to feel it tomorrow.
Alright.
And the total cost for a round is 1 silver. These are
I'm
not
getting us
expensive
all
drinks.
around.
Oh wow.
Oof.
Because
Well, Freya's like, Freya could probably have 2 of them with that. That
Yeah,
would be
make a constitution
yeah,
check.
with
that you
her
can, yeah.
constitution check.
Only if you're going to hammer down 2 of them.
Okay.
That's not required.
Now I'm gonna go for 1.
if I have 0 silver and I only have gold,
Gold is worth 10 silver.
okay,
Then you can just
so
make change. Or you can buy way more drinks than you need. It's up to you.
Drinks for the whole bar.
so then I would have 9 silver.
That's right.
Math.
D&D math.
9 silver, 9.
This is how my kids are learning math. It's all
That's
D&D,
great.
teaching them with D&D.
Yeah.
No, it's really great.
I give them D&D quiz questions in the car while we're driving.
Oh, that is
I
funny.
make Gabe do conversions.
That's hilarious.
That's smart.
I tell him how much gold is in the dragon's chest, and he's got to convert it all to silver.
Maybe he can teach me someday.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, I bought us all around.
All right. You have drinks in front of you. You have deep fried
Giant amount of fish.
seaweed and
Yeah.
fish and lots of things are deep fried.
Yeah,
You have a veritable breakfast feast in front of you.
sounds wonderful.
Okay, yeah, I guess, but you know, what's our move? She's still getting kidnapped. Then
That's what I say. We would, we can be sure that she's gonna be well taken care of if it's us.
I know, but
And
like,
okay.
I don't want to scare a little girl.
How old is she? Do we know that?
You didn't ask, but I will say if you, in hindsight, would have asked,
Yes.
Mena is the young woman you saw get off the
Yeah.
ship.
I did know
Young
that.
woman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not
she was
little
traveling
girl.
by herself. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
She came off the ship.
She's
I
mature
did
for
know
her
that.
age.
Yeah.
She is the youngest daughter of the Kieran family, but she's in her late 50s.
Oh wait, what?
Oh.
Oh right, put it out.
Which for
Yeah.
elves,
Yeah, right.
which for elves would mean, let's say,
Hold up!
let's say the human equivalent of like a kid who's just gone away to college for a couple of years,
sure.
like
Young
1920,
Yeah.
1820.
right? She went on this is the equivalent of like the rich socialite
Right.
girl who went away to like,
Gap year.
yeah, she went to Europe to run around for a little
Herself,
while,
yeah.
and now she's back and she's
Yeah.
getting together with her hometown friends.
Sure.
And Daddy let him go to the cottage.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Oh, I hate her even more now.
But I'm thinking of like there's already violence happening to people who are not elves, and this will just fuel that.
I know. I'm worried about strategically too.
I hear that. What if we tried to pin this on a different group?
Nips. No.
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 Air is almost like
Nips the tabaxi.
I mean,
Air is like I dipped my toe into your mess with
Yeah.
this, and I regret every second of it.
Yeah.
so
I'm not fighting anyone's fight anymore.
Yeah.
Other than this one, apparently.
right.
You're like, dang it. Except for all of these.
Is
I just
there?
wish there was some way to like.
What about this?
What if we try to frame like the Graders of the Dawn or some other group?
We're really
Can we
bad
do
at
that?
framing
Specifically
people. We're
elfish
just
group.
kind of bad at framing people.
I am too. But like, what if could we get like? I'm sure there's a
What
Be
I'm
better.
wondering- Be better. Right.
Be better at doing bad
She
things.
stands up and she's like, but like, I just wonder if there's a way that we could be like really clever here. We're very smart.
Well,
We're like-
I have an idea.
They think
Are we
we're kidnapping, but we could like do something that could like lure her away so she's not afraid. She's not
Yes.
scared. But everyone else thinks she's kidnapped.
Right.
But we're keeping her safe. We're not fucking traumatizing.
So that's
Mena
actually
Mena.
what I was gonna kind of say is what if we sort of secretly go to Mena, like kind of let her in on what's going on, but we could also say there's something that this other group is coming for you.
Right,
And
like
we
we're there
heard-
to protect her.
We're there to protect her, but how do we get in? She has her blades, who are there.
They're in on it.
The blades are in on it. How do we convince her? How do we get What's
Blades
our
are-
credibility?
Roll a 20.
Right.
How do we convince we just roll a 20 and then magic happens and then
We
the
are
DM
super
fills in. The DM just fills in narratively how we figured
He's
that
like,
out.
wonderful job, and pulls out a whole new storyline.
Natural
Yeah,
20.
I
You
mean-
won D&D. That was great.
We have nothing else to do.
Good job, everyone. Here's a bunch of gold pieces.
Yeah, and I
And a magic
mean, you know,
sword.
like, is there in like that? Can we have credibility in some way? Do you know somebody? Would she know you? Would you know somebody else, or one of you?
Would she?
No, I don't run in these circles really.
Yeah.
Definitely not air. It's not inconceivable that you might have met Menemena at some point.
Former pupil. Maybe.
Former-
You
Not quite
didn't
age.
do a lot of teaching of noble
I
born
did.
Oh,
children.
right,
They
right,
had
right.
enough privilege.
Yeah, right. You were
Yeah.
helping the.
Did she? Hey, did she have to do? Did she have to do any service in her
Community service.
Service hours.
Service hours for high school?
I had to sign her
paid someone to
paper.
do it.
Yeah.
No.
No.
You don't know. None of you are familiar with Menemena
No.
other than seeing her at the
Well, I'm
docks that
definitely
one
not.
time.
But okay, seeing her at the docks that one time. That's right, because you didn't recognize her at the docks either.
I would be very willing. Very is only being said because I've now slammed this beverage. To do this if we approached it, even if we had the masks on, so that she didn't know who we were. From a point of like, we're here to keep you safe. I know this is scary, but we're gonna take you with us. You will not be hurt.
Why would she believe us though?
She probably won't, but it's the only way I ethically can like go through with it.
Could we like break one of her blades somehow?
Hey, all these blades have families too. You know.
Yeah. And I am really worried. Panda is very, very, very worried about what this is going to do because she's also anticipating like trying to get Trillium out,
Right.
trying to have a conversation.
But think about all the individuals you could free from bondage with this money.
But
That's
could I?
true.
Well, not you, but the
Not
organization.
you and the
But will they?
yeah. I mean, it's only in 3 days that this 4 days that this magistrate is coming. We have a lot. There's a lot going on here, and whether it's us or somebody else, if there is fuel to the fire there,
Yeah.
it's true. This might be
Well, I think
I
she's getting kidnapped either way. That's basically what's going on here. So maybe we should do it, and then we're maybe a little bit more in charge of the messaging.
true. We could use that 500 gold pieces too.
Also, the 500 go ahead.
I would say that I would agree to it if I get to be the one.
We're giving the hard sell here.
Right. I'm so worried about this girl. I'm so worried about the aftermath of it. We say like we're not gonna harm her, but like we don't know what's gonna happen.
We don't know what's going to happen for sure.
I'm worried about the next trillium.
About the what?
The next trillium, you know?
But what if this like just fuels the whole city and then there's just like riots and there's like all this harm comes to non-elf people.
Chaos is a ladder, is what Littlefinger said.
Time is like soup.
So I don't feel good about it. I don't know if it's the beer or the decision.
What if we use this as an opportunity to convince her of our views? And then we could have a powerful ally. She's young.
And
she's hip. She's yeah.
Stockholm syndrome. So we're like straight name like stuck in a Stockholm syndrome.
Well, I was gonna say it, but
But it would be an
we could
honest.
show her how great we are.
We could show her great we are, and it actually would be honest. And I feel like I'm just justifying this to myself right now, but it would be honest to say, if we were not here right now, keeping you safe, somebody else would be here right now, and they might not be keeping you safe.
Right. And that's what we don't have control over. So
No.
this we did have control over. Yeah, so we may have to take her by force at first. I don't know.
When we get there, will you allow me to just try to get her to come with us? Instead of just like running in and
What's going to
grabbing
stop
and
her from just
throwing them.
yelling for the blades?
I mean, we have to take care of them, clearly.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we're not walking away from this with no death. It's just not her death.
Again, the privilege.
And then
You're
her
gonna
friends
walk
are going to
away.
be so scared. Oh my god. This is really hard. This is hard.
Sorry, was that an out of character
This is
accusation?
No,
How
that
dare you, sir?
This is hard.
Give me a tough decision to make on a Tuesday night.
This is a dark, hard world that you've stepped into.
The only reason
Lots of
that I
things have
think
nuance.
I can do this is because now I'll just be worried that if it's not us, that it'll be someone else and they'll do something horrible.
I want to be clear also, just so out of character again as a DM. I do not build plot hooks that are demands.
No, but I want to do this. It sounds like
There's nothing.
You
I
wanna
don't.
do it.
I never put. I do not railroad. You'll know it if I'm railroading you
Yeah.
because I won't offer it as a choice and we
Yeah.
should go have brunch and talk about it.
Yeah.
It will just happen to you.
Yeah.
So you always have a
Fight will come
choice
to you.
here.
I just
And
have a
that's-
bad feeling about this.
This whole world is built
Oh,
around forcing you into
horrible.
these exact decisions.
Yeah.
That's why I built
Yeah.
a world where you're in a potentially corrupt empire.
Yeah.
Maybe you're part of a rebellion. Maybe you're not. Like
Well,
you're
then
going to
I
make
think
a
of,
lot
like,
of interesting
Rogue
decisions.
One, like they had to do some shit.
They did.
Yeah.
So,
Viva
yeah.
la revolution, you know? Yeah, sometimes.
Question that you might not be able to answer, but you may, and I apologize if we already have this information. Do I know what it's going to cost me to free Lily?
Oh, great question. Yeah. So you ballpark know that a contract for somebody like Lily, or what's remaining on her contract, from the start is usually about 1,000 gold pieces. However, what you don't know is what is currently owed on her contract because you have not talked to the holder of her contract.
So the most would be 1,000.
Well,
Compounding interest.
I mean, here's the thing. There is literal slavery in the Empire.
Yeah.
And then there is indentured servitude. And if you play with the numbers just right in indentured servitude,
It's a forever.
so until you speak to the owner of her contract,
Or just steal her and put her on a boat.
or that, which is how you met the Yokogawa in the first place, was they were not buying those kobolds, they were evacuating them.
So
Could have been possible without kidnapping some nobles.
if they have the capacity to get people out and put them on boats,
But that costs money too.
sure. Sure.
A lot of bribes have to be paid to ship captains.
But it might be cheaper for them to do it than me to buy out her contract.
That's almost certainly true.
Well, should we vote?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, but I also feel like it can be used to get in the direction that we want to go. I'm just gonna feel really dirty after.
Sounds
So
like
yes.
sounds like a character development arc to me.
Yeah.
Eric can live with that.
Air's fine. Air is fine.
Yeah.
Or is this a situation where it's like it needs to be unanimous and to some degree?
I in general, I'm a no for this. I don't think that we should be messing around with this. I think we should take our time, go in, work on whatever is going on with Trillium, see if we can figure out a way to help that situation. And I am really worried about this council meeting too, and it is in a few days, the council and the magistrate. That said, if both of you are on board for going, I'm with you. I will be with you. You are my people here.
I am at a place where now I just feel like, I think there's going to be a shitstorm from this. I'm not even like pretending there's not.
Yeah.
I just
Like
would
to be.
rather have the girl in our care.
I'd be so
Okay.
disappointed if we didn't do this.
What?
I'd be so as a Thomas. I'd be so disappointed.
As a Thomas.
It's a Thomas.
Sounds like so much fun.
It sounds like so much
I don't
fun.
feel good about
and
it.
It's 500 gold pieces, so that's the other thing with Freya.
Yeah.
If I was just standing on moral ground, I'd say no and walk
Right.
away. But at
Right.
the end of the day, 500
Yeah.
gold pieces is calling also. So.
And I've seen what we're capable of altogether, which gives me maybe a naive hope, maybe a real hope that like once we're in it, maybe we can navigate it a little differently than.
Think on it, yeah.
Maybe we can roll better.
Maybe we could
Yeah.
roll better.
Well, that would help.
Yeah.
I'm swearing off Nips, I'm telling you.
No, we need to lay low and we gotta get Nips when we can.
Just like,
We're gonna lay low and I'll get Nips myself.
It's turning into like a Moby Dick situation here.
Yeah, right. No, not at all. That cat's mine. That cat is mine. Actually, this was really funny, just as a side note. So when I was in under features and traits, what I had already put, and I said this, maybe it wasn't there. No, it's description maybe. That I'm chaotic good. So my personality trait is if you do me an injury, I will crush you, ruin your name, salt your fields. The common folk love me for my kindness and generosity.
I like that. I want that on a t-shirt for sure.
Especially with the common folk love me for my kindness and generosity.
Should we be updating our character sheets with like our personality and our like character growth?
Absolutely.
Is
Whatever
that normal? Okay.
Whatever helps you stay on top of
Okay.
what's going on with your character.
Yeah.
I also have a noble obligation to help and protect people under me. So that you are appealing to me. I want to protect her too.
Yeah.
I will tell you that the only reason I go look at your character sheet is if there's something that you put on there that you want to keep secret from the rest of the group.
Gotcha.
Because there are parts of your character sheet that can be kept invisible.
Sure.
I don't remember which parts those are, but there's a section on there I think that you can have that's just for you.
I kind of like that.
We can also
Pando-
use Discord for that if you. That's easier probably.
that kind of.
If
Well, I
there's
just
side stuff or things.
I like that Piano kind of started naturally naive because also the human running her didn't know very much. But like she's changing, and I kind of feel like it should be captured somewhere. But I'm like, where do I put it? But that makes sense if we can evolve those.
It's a great arc for Pando because she is the quintessential bleeding heart who was a little sheltered by the fact that she grew up in a privileged environment and saw it from a distance and now is thrust into the midst
and it has to make gross decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. With real consequences.
That depends a lot on how you roll, but yeah. Natural one, everyone does. Live with the murder. All right, so brunch complete. What is next?
All right. I'm here, but you lead the way. I'm here.
I mean, should we go back and tell him our decision?
Yeah, might as well. Let's get going.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do it.
I kind of
I feel like
we're here just a little bit like like as we're like walking.
I was one to kidnap a noble.
Fair.
Right.
As you're departing the docks, you see perched on a barrel, basically smoking a it's like a handmade cigarette. Nell the Knoll,
Oh, damn.
Oh damn it!
who sees you from afar and goes and just waves you over.
Air genuinely feeling defeated about the situation and embarrassed by the situation. Walks over. Takes a deep breath, walks over. No. How you doing?
Hey, so word is that none of that fabric got moved yesterday at the market, and maybe she's a little spooked. Maybe she's taking her time, but I will tell you this. I know it's Nips that you got moving the stuff, And I like that choice, but I don't really like how many questions she's currently asking about it. Not really the circumspect approach we were all hoping for.
Right. Yeah.
And
well, in retrospect, everything is 2020.
Sure. So I just hope it gets sold tomorrow, so you can get paid.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't get sold tomorrow, I'm probably not going to pay you.
Okay, good.
So as long as we're clear on that.
Yeah. Yep. Nope, that's what I expected. Yep.
All right. See you.
I was wondering, did Nell pay us something up front?
No.
Oh, okay.
So your upfront payment was basically that you got to keep whatever you managed to sell the goods for.
Right. Oh, here, this entire time I was thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna have to come up with this money to pay back now.
No.
But
That was.
we still have to figure out where the hell everything is.
But in order to get they are sitting on 30 gold pieces for you.
Right. So
There's not an insubstantial sum.
No, but I don't.
Seems small compared to 500 gold, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, not getting 30 gold is a lot different from owing 30 gold. Is
Right.
What I'm saying.
You would not owe anything.
Yeah.
But the goodwill of Nell the Knoll for having achieved what they wanted to achieve. If this stuff never gets sold,
I have less political capital with Nell.
Yeah, because basically all you've accomplished then is her boss, the harbor master, didn't get the money he thought he was going to get for redirecting this stuff somewhere, and so he's out.
Probably Nell's probably going to get a cut of that too. Honestly,
I mean, yeah,
probably Nell gave up.
So Nell's probably not
their
thrilled,
cut.
but probably not infuriated if
You're
this
not gonna
doesn't
lose
happen.
any end.
Just certainly not going to pay you.
Another day.
Yeah, certainly not going to pay you 30 gold, and probably not going to hit you up with more tasks to help in the future.
I really want to preserve this relationship with Nell because Nell's a great character. I'll have to tell you.
Is there something that we can do today? Actually,
could we try to purchase back the? I want to approach Nips and purchase back the fabric.
I like this double or nothing attitude.
Double down
that you have. You went from earlier in this
in 20 minutes.
You went from earlier in this session saying, "I'm done with Nips. I'm never talking
earlier in the
to
session,
Nips
10
again.
minutes ago.
I've walked away from that whole storyline." And now you're like, "I'm going to approach Nips. I'm going to confront Nips. I'm going to double down on this." I love it. I love what's happening. All right. Well, you all talk about it. Don't talk to me about it. I'm
Right.
I'm not a collaborator in this.
Hey, should I go talk to Nips?
Air suggests, I think we should try to. I think our reputation is on the line here. Okay? My reputation is on the line.
I was like, I have no reputation.
Hannah doesn't buy it, but she also really wants to delay this very ethical conundrum.
Also,
We don't know where Nips resides or anything like that. Maybe we can just try to find out a little bit more about Nips here. Ask around.
Well, I'll tell you,
you busted out.
You actually do know some things. So you went and found Nips in the first place, and the place Nips goes, not when it's not market day, is the scratching post.
That's true.
Right.
That's where you found Nips drinking all day long at the scratching post with her take from market day, and market day was yesterday, so you know where Nips is going to be today.
Do I need to try to intimidate Nips again? Which has never really worked out too well for me.
One of these times.
Oh, we should get those masks from Makdu and head over later on to the thing, but use those masks and grab Nips. Bring Nips along.
Air is going to try to approach Nips again.
Okay.
But not kidnap Nips.
We're only kidnapping one person today.
We can. I only have one good kidnap in me.
Could be a twofer. One on the way out of town.
And I think there's a small chance of saving this job. And I'm going to try to buy back the fabric, but I'm going to buy back at a very reduced price and push the onus on Nips. And it's not going to go well. But I feel like what's the worst that could happen? Nips already
Guess we'll
doesn't
find
like
out.
us. Yeah.
Okay. I love when players say that. What's the worst that could happen?
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
good. So you're headed to the scratching post.
All right. Well, I'm just going to stay in the back. Maybe if you need to bring Nips to the back, if you want me to do some
if things go
intimidation.
south, keep within earshot.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm right
stay.
there.
with her, just in case? Or do you need me as
collecting your,
backup?
no, that's fine. Collecting your thoughts,
Yes.
meditating.
All right, very good.
Yes.
So Freya and Pando are out
back
back
alley.
in the alley, and you walk into the scratching post. At this point, it's late morning, and the scratching post, while not famous for its breakfast, is famous for its early drinkers. And you do, in fact, see Nips sitting at a table all by her lonesome. The bar is not packed, but it is populated. There's a scattering of tables. There's folks here. Lily is not working right now, but there are a few people behind the bar that at this point you recognize after staying here a few times. And Nips is facing away from the door at her customary table when you walk in.
Air gets a drink and just sits.
What you drinking?
The only
Ten-
drink
Hairball?
the only drink I know at this
The
place.
10 a.m. hairball.
Yep.
Well, it'll wake you up.
Yep. Yeah, the locals throw some hot sauce on
Actually, the
it.
hairball basically clears all of that grease from the food that you consumed
sure.
earlier
Oh, yeah.
It's a digestive.
out of your system. Yeah, it just sweeps it right through. You're going to need a restroom in about 15 minutes. But right now, you're feeling alert, alive,
Yeah,
and,
right,
and
right.
buzzed.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah. You're full of liquid courage right now.
Is Nips alone?
Yep. Nips
Okay.
is sitting alone.
Air just again pretending to be the badass she isn't is going to sit across from Nips
Okay.
and just says, "Nips, seems like you got yourself some pretty hot items."
Okay. As you approach, she looks up, and the tail starts twitching aggressively back and forth. And she sort of looks up and turns her head a little bit and says, "You again."
Yes, me.
It's time to redeem yourself.
Yes, I've been asking some questions. And it seems I do have some, as you said, hot items.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate because we really needed to. We had our own plans, and it looks like we're gonna be needing those items back.
Interesting.
And I think since I need the items back, and you want to get rid of them as soon as possible, maybe we can make something happen here.
Seems very presumptuous of you to assume that I want to get rid of them as soon as possible.
Or keep them. Up to you.
I think this has worked out very well then, thanks.
Oh. I guess Air looks over Nip's shoulders and says, and then just kind of gestures. He's like, "Geez, I wonder when the blades usually get into here around this time, right?"
All right, make a deception check.
I'm not rolling this die. That die is not good. I'll just do it. At least I know this is mathematically fair, at least. 21.
Oh, okay.
Whew.
Hang on. She bristles and looks over her shoulder, and then back at you.
Oh, no, I think that was just a merchant. Sorry.
Very funny. Do I take your meaning then that you've set someone on my trail?
No, not yet. But look, I think we have a couple options here. Either I'll buy back the items from you, obviously at pennies on the dollar or silvers on the gold, coppers on the gold, or I'll pay you an additional fee if you can make those items show up at the marketplace tomorrow. I know with you and your connections and your discreet practices could probably make that happen. You'd be able to unload that fabric, and make some even more money off of it. Better deal than what you even thought.
Which are you pushing for?
I kind of want her to do the dirty work, but I think I would like her to do it.
Okay, make a persuasion check.
But I'll take either, because either is better than what the current situation is. Oh no.
I was so scared. I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah.
But I was so scared.
Persuasion. I've had such bad luck with that dice in this campaign. Nat 20.
Oh!
yeah.
26.
It rolled and a B came up, and I was like, what the hell's a B?
Okay, she says,
Jeez, how much gold do I have?
I don't know what went on after our transaction that so obviously spooked you. But perhaps you
Do I look spooked? You seem more spooked. I won't push it.
Yeah, just double down again. But perhaps it is just that I'm more experienced with such transactions. Yes, you are right to think that Nips has the connections necessary to move this merchandise. And it is appropriate for you to pay me for my trouble, since you unloaded this hot merchandise on me without informing me of its, what was the word you chose? Provenance?
You've been in this business long enough.
Let's call it 20 gold pieces as a lubrication fee. You can just pay it up there to Timmons, pay down my tab.
Did you quit tab?
That barely scratches the surface. Get it? It's the scratching post. Timmons! Another round. It's on him, her, it's on them. And they're going to pay some of my tab and collect 20 gold to my tab, Timmons. Timmons snorts a little bit and goes, 20 gold. I'll cover the interest.
I vaguely remember this practice. When we shook last time, did we spin our hands and shake or something, or did I just make that up?
No, I don't remember that, but I like it.
Put it here.
Yeah, I think so. But she just
Licks.
licks her whole paw, and then you shake on it.
Okay.
So if you want to pay down, pay 20 gold.
Yeah. Good news, bad news. I have to go get some gold.
The constant party strikes again.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have Eric acts really cool about the situation, but then goes out back, makes a quick turn before getting to the counter, and maybe hopefully Nips was turning away and didn't quite notice. Goes out back and is like, okay, good news, bad news. I have a way for us to make 30 gold, but I'm going to need 8 gold.
So, we also get to keep the profits from this if we can get them away from Nips, right?
Well, I think they already did that.
Oh, yeah.
The deal that he just made with Nips is he's going to pay down 20 gold for bar tab.
Yeah.
And Nips is going to make sure that this fabric shows up in the marketplace tomorrow and gets sold.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But we don't get the profits from that, right?
Well, what happened? Well,
You've already received your profit.
Yeah, what
That's
initially
what I
happened.
thought.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
No, that's okay.
You
That's
got 80
okay. I
gold
just
from
forgot
that
about
transaction with Nips.
Yeah, so basically we've changed the transaction a little bit, so now we're getting 60 gold, and she's going to do the heavy lifting and make it show up in the marketplace, which is actually, I think I just made gold from hay here. I think I'm Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
I don't mind loaning 8 gold.
Well, you'll get back right away.
I got 5 silver.
Air doesn't even
I just
acknowledge.
doesn't even
doesn't even look. Doesn't even We're like, do we have gold?
Yeah.
I just gave you gold.
Okay. Well, now I have nothing.
I will say, as you slide 20 gold across the bar to Timmons, the box in your pouch
Piss. I'm
throbs. Yeah, uncomfortably.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a pre-migraine
Sure.
kind of feeling.
Yeah, and
It doesn't last a long time, but long enough to let you know that it noticed
yeah,
that you had gold in your hands.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Because the box feeds on gold, essentially, right?
Maybe.
Box
yeah.
wants
So-
its gold.
Yeah.
Once
So
it's gold.
out of character, you're aware of that, but
Yeah.
in character, that is still
A
something
mystery.
that only
Okay.
Air
Right.
has not revealed that to anyone.
Anything. We've just
Like
seen
my
the little
Our
box that he
senses
throws
have not
stuff
picked
in.
up anything, right?
We've seen the bot. We've seen Air put gold
But
in.
we just think it's like
quickly.
a pouch or something like
I
that.
thought we had it.
I think no. I do think you've observed Air
Yeah.
putting money in the box.
We
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
know it's
we're-
anything
we
like
did early.
But
mysterious,
it's just an interesting
nefarious,
looking box,
yeah.
and
Yes.
you put some money in it.
It's my coin pouch.
All right, very good. So, what are you doing now?
Air is able to sleep well tonight for the first time in a long time.
Well, that's good. It's noon.
Oh,
I know.
And-
Air's like, guys, I need to go and meditate.
This has been a big day.
enough work today, right?
Several drinks.
So
I
many
talked
things
to a
have
cat.
Yeah.
Need
I
a
got-
nap.
So I
Done
think,
well,
yeah, I think we need to go back and let Mach 2 know that we're gonna do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah, okay.
let's head over.
Should we stop it here just because it's 9 before
Yeah.
we get
Oh,
to
sure.
him, knowing that that's where we're gonna head?
Well, let's,
Or should we
if we can, let's just have the conversation with
Okay,
him,
sure.
so that then you all can decide what collectively you want to do after that. Because this
Gotcha.
is really just you saying, "We're in."
Yeah,
But if you have questions for him or
I have
things that you
questions.
want to say to him about it, like
Okay.
we want to make sure. So when you return to the safe house, he is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been a few hours, and he looks up from a game of Go. He's playing Go with Tambu, and stands to greet you. So you've had time then to discuss.
All right, we'll do it.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Of course.
You have no intention of harming Menamina, correct?
Not at all. And in fact, the entirety of this responsibility will lie with you. You are to take her, bring her to the the sea caves to the north. Tanbu will show you a map and make sure you know the way. And then one of you must stay with her until the ransom is paid. They will pay, I assure you. This is not an uncommon practice among the noble families. Perhaps not here in Chukib, but in the capital and in other places, these are common power games. 2,000 gold to Kieran family means nothing.
And what if they don't pay?
If they don't pay, we will send her back to them, one finger at a time, until they die.
God damn it.
Just kidding. No,
I'm like,
I knew it.
of course not. If they do not pay, we will put her on a ship, and she will be taken to the mainland, and at some point returned to her family. But I assure you, no harm will come to this girl. She is a woman of means, and will be deposited in a port city somewhere where she can hire a ship and come back to her family, or more likely go off on some well-funded adventure.
This will just
But-
be another adventure to her.
But again, they will pay. I have known the Kieran matriarch my entire life. There is no question that she will demand that her husband pay this
Oh, she's married.
ransom.
She's married?
No, the matriarch.
Oh, sorry.
Menemena's mother is
Right.
who,
Gotcha.
who he's referring to.
She's only 50. She's too young.
She will demand that the ransom be paid instantly, and then will put out a bounty on whoever did this of double the ransom the immediate moment afterwards. So there will be some very happy bounty hunter roaming around Chukip in no time, I'm sure.
Oh, great.
Looking for us.
This is why you need to do your job well.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you must keep her in the sea caves, I imagine, for at least a full day, perhaps 2. We will provide instructions. Instructions for the ransom will be delivered by someone from the organization. And we will handle the collecting of the ransom. As soon as it has been collected, Tanbu will come to the sea caves to inform you that it is time to return, and we will handle the returning of Mena to the front gate of Chukip, where she can walk herself back to her family's compound.
Okay.
So her safety will be in your hands the entire time.
I'm just wondering, do you have an extra one of those masks also that I could, just in case mine rips? Because I'm screwed. If I'm seen, I'm screwed.
I will provide you with 4 masks.
Okay, thank you.
For your team of 4. Where's the little rock one?
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take the
Question.
little rocks mask right now.
Very
Yeah, he's probably sitting in the sea caves waiting for us already.
Yeah, he's probably already at the CK.
Yeah.
With Mena just building something.
Right.
I put some thought into what you said earlier about the possibility of this being blamed on non-elves in the city. With the Greeters of the Dawn here, I agree that this is a concern, and I have heard more about the rumors floating around the city. Here is my suggestion. You will leave this clue behind at the scene, a sort of calling card, if you will. And he presents a feather to you, and the feather is from an oceanside, a coastal hawk, known as, I don't know the name of the coastal hawk, it doesn't matter. This coastal hawk feather is very distinctive. It is about 6 inches long, very sharp looking, and in fact one edge of it is literally sharp, like you could cut yourself. It's called a razor hawk. No, a razor kestrel. That's why it's called a razor kestrel.
Sure.
The razor kestrel feather is part of the uniform, the formal uniform of one of the noble houses from the capital city. If this is discovered at the scene of her abduction, I assure you her family, her father in particular, will instantly assume that this is a move taken by one of the noble houses, a specific one with whom he has a grudge. If it is noticed. But this would be an almost foolproof way to draw attention away from anyone else in the city. Now, if you're too obvious or ham-fisted with it, it won't work. You can't just throw it on the ground in front of her friends or something stupid. But you've proven yourself to be capable. So if this clue can find its way into the hands of one of the Blades or perhaps one of her little friends after you take her, it should direct attention in a direction that is useful for us and not harmful to the locals.
Okay.
With that, I must be off and back to my house. So let us pause it there for tonight. Good session, everybody.